Okay, welcome everybody to tonight's October 21st Town Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Jessica.
She's
Do
muted.
you have her muted?
I got her. She should.
Oh, where'd she go?
Where'd she go?
She'll be back shortly.
All right, Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town, with
Sarah Ryan, Vandewater and Vandewater.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. It's a rather small agenda. First thing on the agenda is a public hearing on the 2021 budget. Number 2 is authorize a contract with Item A, Identity and Security USA LLC for live scan equipment for the police department. Number 3 is video surveillance from Linstar for the police department. 4 is accept the police department donation from Arlene Valero and Om Patel. Number 5, set a date for a public hearing on a community development block grant. 6, approve surplus vehicle auction highway department equipment. 7, appoint and have a discussion on Fifth Ward councilperson. 8, approve fall fund at the Cottage Square event. 9, a notification the following claim refer to legal: Shorts versus the town and Scanaro versus the town subrogation claim. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the any item on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to discuss any item that is on the agenda? Star 6 to mute or raise your hand.
I'm not seeing anyone.
You see them? Make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a small presentation on tonight's budget. Our comptroller, Charlie's going to come up and give a presentation on this year's budget, hopefully. Okay, you ready?
Okay, the preliminary budget that we submitted back to the board on September 30th.
Charlie, can you move the mic a little closer? I'm sorry.
We met with the finance committee several times, and there was only one change to the budget. We increased the court officers' budget by 25,000, and then we increased the revenue from courts.
That microphone's not coming through.
Charlie, try again. Go
Try
ahead.
it again, Charlie.
Go ahead. Try again.
There it goes, okay.
Get closer
Should
to
I
that.
go again?
Go ahead.
Couldn't
Get
hear you
started
back
over.
there.
All right, there was only one change from the preliminary budget. We met with the finance committee over the last couple weeks. We increased the budget on the court attendance by 25,000, and we increased the revenue from the courts by 25,000, offset the expense. But everything else remains the same. That was the only change from the original preliminary budget. Basically, with COVID and the way things have been going, the budget is very, nothing new. We're going to stay static or stay stable. So with that, we, this is our total budget, grand total for all the town, and I want to put it in the fire districts and the library. And the total budget for the town is $76 million. You can see the fire districts is almost half of the whole town. Fire district's 23 million of the 46 million for the whole town, 48 million for.
The fire district is how much of the percent?
If you look at that first sheet, you got, the subtotal for all the town
I
is
see.
48,569,000. The 3 fire districts together, Arlington, Fairview, and New Hamburg, are 23,119,000.
Okay.
And the library is 4.4 million also.
The library actually is over $9 million. We're only paying a portion, the city pays the other portion, but their total budget for the library is over $9.2 million for the library. This is the tax rate comparing 21 to 2020. You can see the A fund has dropped 228,000, B fund is up 517. Basically, due to the sales tax being cut, the revenues cut, and basically contracted services with the collective bargaining units. So overall, like we go through the whole, we're only up 1.34%, and the cap is at 1.56%. On the budget, we had to have a retirement incentive to get below the cap. It worked out well. We had several positions that we're not going to replace, and several we will, but they'll be at a lower rate, which in turn saves us money. The medical insurance, they'll be paying 20%, where some of the retirees have not been paying for medical. Tax rate remains under the cap. We maintain funds for the infrastructure. We didn't cut anything from the highway, water, sewer. No services were cut, and no forced layoffs.
He said, as Charlie said, along the line of retirement incentives for the amount of employees that left. We left some of our positions in, so if we have to move them or split them between departments, that'll be one of our ways of doing them, and this stopped us from having to do any layoff at all, because we're fortunate enough that it seemed to be almost like one person from each department. So it was good, except for, I think there was 3 in highway, which we'll work on that, which we've discussed at other meetings, to hold them over till March due to the snow season.
Okay, I don't know if this you can see. Basically, I just put the appropriations, our expenses, and I want to compare them to last year. It's hard to see, but you can see the general fund, we cut our actual expenses by 149,000, and the B fund, that went up in taxes, but they also cut their spending by 275,000. I thought that was important to show, how we're trying to stay under the cap. Water fund is up, but we're putting over 550,000 into a contingency to get the wells up and running, and repairs and maintenance of the wells. As you can see, Arlington Fire is up 1.4 million, Fairview Fire is up 500,000, and New Hamburg cut their budget by 17,000.
Which is good. Any step in the right direction helps.
What was the Arlington fire budget? What was the total increase?
About 8%.
8%.
And these are just slides I put together if you're in these districts. I wanted to show the actual tax bill. And you can see in the
In this
Fairview
case,
district.
Charlie, you said it's hard to read. The red is actually school. The little small piece of pie there is the county. The library is the 8% in this one. The 13 is the town, and the
And 2% is the library.
is the library.
But you can see the school and fire is 80% of the budget in Fairview. Same with Arlington. You can see the school is 60% is the red. Orange is the fire department, at 16%. So that's 76% of the whole budget on those two. Things, the town is at 13, the county's at 8, and the library at 2. Stack and kill, again, school budget 60%, fire is 16%, 13% for the town, 8 for the county, and 2 for the library. And then Wappingers, 42% for the school, I think only 4% for the fire, 13% for the town, 8 for the county, and again, 2 for the library. And basically, the fund balance of the town, you can see we're maintaining, went up a little bit from 18 to 19. This is based off the audit, 2019 audit. So,
And what people have to understand, Charlie, we've discussed this the other day, is fund balance, people assume that means cash in the bank. It's not. Fund balance is tied into our assets, so right now we're close to a 20% fund balance. That does not mean that we have 20% of our budget in cash. You know,
but it's assets minus liabilities and equity. So that's basically all. If there's any questions?
Can you email me that presentation so I can
Sure.
put it in the summary tomorrow? Thank you.
Anybody have any questions on this? No? Anybody in the audience have a question? No?
You're going to open the public hearing on the budget, right, next?
Yep. Charlie, thank you. Now make a motion to open the public hearing for public comment from anybody that would like to discuss this. Those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to discuss the budget in general? This is your time to speak. Going once? Make a motion to resume the rules?
So moved. Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
That brings us to our regular list of agenda items. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to discuss any item on the agenda? Please *6 to mute, or *9 to raise your hand. Anybody else? No? Make a motion to resume the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Number 1, Mr. Renihan.
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie adopted its preliminary budget for the year 2021 on October 7, 2020, and whereas the legal notice of public hearing was posted on October 9, 2020, and published in Poughkeepsie Journal on October 13, 2020, and whereas a public hearing was held on October 21, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 101 Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby close the public hearing in regards to the adoption of the preliminary budget. As amended, adopts the budget modifications to the preliminary budget presented by the Comptroller, and does adopt the preliminary budget as so modified as the town's 2021 budget. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any questions or comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A late comment.
Opposed?
Charlie and...
Oh, I can't hear you.
I don't know.
Jessica
Charlie.
and both of you...
They're muted right
No,
now.
they weren't muted.
Now I'm unmuting them, but I didn't mute them. Jessica keeps on getting, there she goes.
For Jay and Charlie, you guys did a tremendous job.
Jessica?
on this.
It's still shown as being muted.
I know, she undid it, but I'm,
And can you... Let me see that.
Can she hear?
Ann and Jessica, can you hear us?
We can't hear you. Are you muted?
No, they're not,
No.
according to this.
The host has us muted.
No, I don't. Sorry, I don't.
No. No. Technology.
We'll wait for you to come in, Ann. It's only a small drive.
I wonder if they should call in.
know what Jay's doing. Jay's trying something in the back. He's probably
Ann can hear Jessica, that's so weird.
rewinding the string that goes from the one.
Christopher? I mean, he just unmuted himself, I thought I heard him.
We can hear him.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Gotcha.
I can hear
You can hear me?
Now we
Now we can hear
can,
you.
yeah.
Okay,
Ann?
all right. I'm gonna mute myself again, and, well, maybe I'll leave myself unmuted.
Yeah, just leave yourself open.
Okay.
Ann, can you say something, Ann?
Can you hear me?
Now we
Yes.
can.
I'm here.
Okay.
Now we
See, I
can.
told you it was a string of cans.
Where were we?
Jessica, did you want to say something?
Do you want to say anything about the
No.
budget?
Okay.
The only thing that I was considering saying was just, a thank you to Jessica and Charlie. Like everything else this year with COVID, the budget was weird and there wasn't much room to do anything. Thank you to the department heads who, also didn't have much room to make any decisions like they usually are, and the staff who is gonna pitch in and help out. So, like everything else in the year of COVID, it was weird and everyone worked together and did a really great job. So I'm grateful. That's all.
And along that line, we thank every board member, every department head member for all their help and input from the beginning of the year on. Once this started in March, we froze our spending and everybody understood where we're coming from. They asked us what was really needed, so we held back. So hopefully that'll help us going into next year where we won't deplete much fund balance, and what we have we can roll over, and if things do turn positive, we should be in a very good spot. But as the finance committee knows, we kept the budget as conservative as possible, and we kept it down because nobody knows what's going to come about next year. So we kept it as close as possible. We told everybody we'll just have to play it by ear to see where it goes. We sort of noticed in the paper today where the sales tax numbers were a little higher than anticipated, so hopefully that's a good sign, because that's sort of where the county gets a good share of their money, and we get a good chunk of money from sales tax also. So if that's a positive, it's a good thing to see. The Hudson Valley is one of the few areas that were up.
So I just wanted to make sure, ladies, that you did vote in favor of the budget since we couldn't hear you. Okay.
I did.
6-0 then. Just double checking.
Okay.
Number 2?
Yes.
Yeah, number 2.
Number 2, whereas the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department, having received a New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, DCJS, Police Live Scan Equipment Program grant in the amount of $10,000 to replace the department's outdated live scan equipment, and wishes to contract with New York State approved vendor Adema Identity and Security USA, LLC, and whereas said vendor has proposed a purchase price and subscription fee, year 1, $23,600, year 2, etc., $4,700, as outlined in the attached memorandum from Chief Kevin Farber. With part being paid by said grant, now therefore be it resolved that this equipment purchase requires no environmental review, and the supervisor or his designee are authorized to execute such documents as necessary to effect said purchase and subscription. And I missaid that. It's Chief Kevin Faber. I do it all the time. So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Hang on, I'm getting there. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie hereby authorizes the supervisor or his designee to accept the $41,000 $487.35 state bid list proposal from Linstar for a much-needed and New York State mandated upgrade to the police department's video surveillance system, and a contract for the same in form acceptable to the supervisor and the attorney for the town, and be it further resolved that the execution of this equipment service agreement is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved.
Second.
We'll get a motion second. Any questions on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie is hereby accept with appreciation a donation of $100 from Miss Arlene Valera, and be it further resolved that the town board, town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the appreciation of donation of $100 from Mr. Om Patel, Be it further resolved that said donations which were made to our police department in appreciation of its responsiveness will be used to offset department needs. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? I'd just like to thank Ms. Valero and Tels for this donation. It's always greatly appreciated that they appreciate the police department. Nice, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 4th day of November, 2020 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the date, time, and place of a public hearing to consider and thereafter vote on the acceptance of grant monies for certain improvements from the County of Dutchess through the Community Block Grant Program for the year 2021, of which the Town of Poughkeepsie is a member. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? This public hearing, just so we know, when we do set the date, it's for the public to give their input on what they think we should be looking at. So if anybody has anything in their ward or anything of interest, reach out. We'll reach out to the county because it's nice to get an idea from them on what they're looking for. The last one we got was over Rocker Road Park, which turned out well. So hopefully if we get a good project in, we'll be able to get another project.
Sounds good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
And Jay, you're reading the amended number 6.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, having received a communication from Highway Superintendent Mark Pfeiffer, does declare 2 vehicles as shown in the attached memorandum to be surplus, and does hereby approve the sale of said vehicles at the auction price indicated. And be it further resolved, the Town Board does authorize the sale of said vehicles for a total sum of $32,600. And be it further resolved that this is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and it requires no environmental review. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
How do you want to do this one, Jay?
I'll read it and then we can discuss it. Be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby appoint to fill the unexpired term of Matt Woolover as 5th Ward Councilperson through December 31st, 2021. So moved.
So, second.
We have a motion, a second. I'd just like to open the floor to discussion with all the council members. You want to put a name in?
Well, Kennedy, Stephen, when I came on the board 7 years ago, Stefan was on the board. And
But before you get that part, Bill, we've had 2 candidates, Stefan Krakauer, who was on the board previous, and Christopher Parks, who was also a resident of the 5th Ward. And I think everybody on the board has had a chance to interview all the interested candidates. So I think at this point, now the board should discuss it.
yeah, okay.
Go
I
ahead.
spoke at some length with Mr. Parks, a very smart man, just 0 experience. And when we make this kind of an appointment, we're voting to put somebody else in charge of representation of 8,000, 9,000 people. So when Stefan's name came on, I knew, because he's done the job, that he's got the experience to be able to do it. So I hereby make the motion to put Stefan Krakauer.
I think before you get to the motion, Bill, can get comments from everybody else?
Oh.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have any
Yes,
comments?
basically, you know, like Bill was saying, I looked at basically the resumes that were submitted to us, and I looked at it, and of course, you know, some will say it's a party affiliation, it has nothing to do with it. I looked at basically the resume itself, and like I said, Stefan has been serving the community before. I think he was a 5th Ward council person, I don't know, 14, 15 years, whatever it is, and a town justice as well. So he's very familiar with the government. And like I said, I like that choice as well so far.
Okay. Jessica?
So I am of different mind here. I believe it's the voters' choice to decide who fills these seats, the same way we all got our seats. And there's 2 parts to that. One, you know, we have had this discussion before on the county level of how to fill a vacant seat. And it was the argument for filling that a like-minded candidate with the same party affiliation should fill that seat, which happened to be a Republican seat. Party affiliation did play a role in the majority of the board voting to fill it that way. So I just wanted to point that out because it's important that if we set a precedent, we stick to it. And the majority of the board did vote in that way once before. I also wanted to point out that with Stefan Krakauer being the specific candidate, he certainly does have experience, and I spoke with Stefan, had a really great conversation with him. However, as I stated before, I don't believe that it is my decision. Stefan did run in a race for judge, not for this 5th Ward seat. And the 5th Ward did vote in favor of his Democratic colleagues. So not only did the 5th Ward vote for a Democrat to fill pretty decisively the 5th Ward council seat, but also for Stefan Krakauer specifically not to get his judge seat again. So I think that's also important to note. So for those reasons, I would like to side with how the voters decided the last election. And I'm in favor of putting Chris Parks.
I have to
Also
disagree.
has shown great
Let her
interest
finish,
in-
Mike, and then you can do yours, and then we can get here from here. No, go on, Jessica. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I was
Okay.
just saying that I'm in favor of Chris Parks. I'm not sure who was trying to speak over me, but because I didn't say, but that's it.
Mike?
Jessica, I have to disagree with you on that because that was a town-wide election. It was not a 5th Ward election. And I did talk to Chris Parks, and I asked him point blank, if you got this, if you got this position, if you didn't get the position, would you run? And he said, probably not. So that told me he wasn't really interested in the position. But he is a very wonderful gentleman to talk to and very knowledgeable. But the question I asked, and he said he would not run, most likely. So that was the concern I had, okay? Stefan has won that district every year he's ran in that district by a large margin. I think by putting Stefan back in that seat, I think you'll see come the next election cycle, he will win that 5th Ward. Okay, he knows that area well, and he's very popular in that area.
Yeah, and excuse me, Mike, I'm afraid I have to disagree with what you've said there. I talked to Chris Parks, and he did not say he would not run. He said he would like to try the position out and see if it's a good fit. He's a very prudent person, he's a careful person, and he wants to make sure this is a good fit for his talents before he commits for running for the seat. So it's not that he's not interested in running for the seat, he just wants to hold his options open at this point in time. And also, I agree with Jessica. When we had to fill the seat for Kenny Roman on the county legislature, one of our council people said that it was incumbent upon us to pick a like-minded individual that would follow in the legislative dictates of the person we were replacing. So I would like to suggest that we do that. Chris Parks is very similar to Matt Willover. Not only does he have the same party, they both have advanced degrees, they both had degrees in science, and they both had an analytical approach to problems. And also, I disagree with you when you say Chris Parks has no community service. He had significant service on a not-for-profit where he was successful in fundraising and making improvements to that project. Can't recall exactly which one it was, and don't make me call it up. But he has significant community service. So I would agree that Chris Parks is the logical choice for this position.
Okay, Ann, do you have anything else, or was that just an answer to Mike's question? You done?
That's it.
My comment is I had a long conversation with Mr. Parks and Stefan, and having a conversation with Mr. Parks, one of the comments that was said was, did you, when you heard this position was available, did you come out looking for it? No, people came looking for me, which can be positive, can be negative, it's according to how somebody thinks of somebody. But I've worked with Stefan on the board for many years. He's won every year that he's been there. Yes, he correctly did not win his judgeship, which we know it was a close race. But I think moving forward for the year to have somebody come in, jump in, get up and running, I would be in favor of putting Mr. Krakauer in that spot to finish up Matt Woolover's term. So we heard everybody's voice. Now, I'll reread this and we can vote. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby appoint Stefan Krakauer to fill the unexpired term of Matt Woolover as Fifth Ward Councilman through December 31st, 2021. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Should we do it by roll call?
Sure.
Yep.
Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlos,
Aye.
Jessica Lopez,
Nay.
Mike Safone,
Aye.
Ann Shershin,
Nay.
and Jay Beasley.
Aye. Motion passes 4-2. Welcome back aboard, Mr. Krakauer. The next day or so, meet up with the town clerk to make sure you get sworn in, and then contact me, and we'll fill you in on where we go from here. Number 8.
Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application submitted by Shelby Adrian to hold an event called Fall Fun at Cottage Square, located at 44 Eastdale Avenue North, Poughkeepsie, New York, on Friday, October 23rd, 2020, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And whereas the presence of food vendors is a vital part of a successful event, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does not include the vendor of food participating in this fall fun event as peddlers and hawkers, and these vendors are thereby exempt from the provisions of Chapter 151 of the Town Code, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application as submitted for said event to be held on Friday, October 23rd, 2020. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Number 9 is just a notice of claim legal, Schwartz versus the town, and Scarano versus the town, subrogation. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion, open the floor for any item at all.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there anybody that would like to say anything at all? *6 to unmute or raise your hand. Mr. Krakauer?
I'll be brief, because this is really right. I just want to thank everybody for putting me back in the position of the town board. I'm looking forward to working with
Stephen, can you
everybody.
pull that mic
All right. Can you
closer?
hear me? All right. I just want to say thank you to everybody for appointing me to the Fifth Ward Council seat in the town board. I'm looking forward to coming back to work for the town, working with everybody, Democrat or Republican. To me, that's not really important at the town level. So I'm excited about it. I'm energized, and I think it's going to be an enjoyable process. And we have an excellent town board, excellent town employees, so I'm happy to be back. So thank you.
I'm sure
Thank
your
you.
constituents will be happy to have somebody that returns phone calls.
I will. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I want to say, may I?
Yep, go ahead.
I wanted to address Stefan if I can. As I told him on the phone, and as most of you know, we can disagree. I told you, I made it clear tonight and to just Stefan what my vote would probably look like and why. But I'm always happy to work with my colleagues. We are good at disagreeing and then getting to work. So that's what I'm sure we'll all be able to do moving forward after tonight.
And Jessica, as you've stated, I think it's, so far, the board has worked very well together, and hopefully we keep that going, because the bottom line is we're here for the residents, not for any personal interest. We all have our things that we feel strongly about that we fight for, but the best bet is we're here for the residents, and it's worked very well so far that way. Anybody else? Make a motion.
Jay?
Ann?
Jay, can you do a reminder about the trunk and treat this Saturday?
You're doing fine, Ann, keep going.
No, I don't. Because it's 3 to 5 this Saturday, Greenville Park?
Correct, and I hear our highway department has one heck of a trunk put together, and they've basically told some other departments to see if they could do it. We have currently, I think, close to 30 trunks coming so far, and we should have a good turnout. It looks like the weather will be nice, so hopefully for people that want to come out and have a safe Halloween, come on out to Greenville Park for our trunk or treat.
And what's the hours again?
2 to 5.
3 to
Ann?
5?
Yep.
Yeah, and remind people to register with the rec department ahead of time. Don't just show up.
Okay, anybody got anything else? Jeff?
Be it resolved
Do you
the
wanna-
town, oh, you want to close
Do you want
that
to
first?
resume the rules?
Oh, make a motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation, matters subject to the attorney-client privilege. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Town board goes into attorney-client at 7:37. And I'd like to make a motion to invite Stefan Krakauer into that meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Do you guys have contact numbers? Jessica and Ann? Okay, we'll call.
Did you email one out?